Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for joining. We're going to get started in just a minute. Okay, thanks again for joining, everyone. Welcome to the webinar. It's all about quality, everything you need to know about our new automated data pipeline. Before we get started, I wanted to highlight that this webinar is part of our exclusive customer-only webinar series. For those who have worked closely with Marketing Evolution in the past, you'll know that we always want to hear about your business, what works, what doesn't, and where you are innovating. And we're fortunate that our clients are some of the most sophisticated marketers in the world who are constantly advancing what's possible in marketing. As we were thinking about better ways to connect with you, with our customers, one idea really seemed to stand out. Let's get our clients together in a more confidential, safe space and give you one place to learn something new, share your experiences with peers, and get tips and ideas on what other Marketing Evolution customers are doing to make marketing measurement and optimization more productive and more effective. So again, please note that this is a customer-only webinar that you're on today, and if anyone here would like the opportunity to present in the future, please reach out to me. So now let's take a quick look at the agenda. So we're going to go through 5 key items today. So first, why marketers need better quality data. We're also going to look at how Marketing Evolution is building data quality into our product, the specific data quality checks that are available today, what the benefits of data quality and those data quality checks are to you, and why our approach is unique. So a little bit about me. My name is Jason Palesci, and I'll be the host for today's webinar. I've been with Marketing Evolution as the product marketing director for a bit over a year now. I've spent my career in marketing at Fortune 500 companies, as well as smaller startup environments across a number of industries. But one thing I've always been passionate about is using data to continuously inform and improve marketing decisions. So working here at Marketing Evolution has really been the perfect fit for my career. I'm joined here today by Wade Simmons. He is the team leader and product owner for our data ingestion and pipeline solutions at Marketing Evolution. I'm very excited to have him here today to share his expertise with all of you. Wade has spent nearly 20 years in the tech space at companies including IBM, Apple, Beats by Dre, and Spotify. He has over 10 years of quality engineering experience at IBM, which he's using to help us build out really the best-in-class automated data pipeline, something that's really going to set Marketing Evolution apart from other providers. So thanks again to Wade and to all of you for joining. We will do our best to keep the webinar to about 30 minutes with a short Q&A. As a heads up, the session is going to be recorded and shared with you by midday tomorrow. And please feel free to ask any questions using the chat function, and we'll get to as many questions as we can at the end of the webinar. And if we can't get to your questions on the call, one of our customer success representatives will be sure to follow up with you.
All right, thanks.
So now I'd like to turn. Yep.
Thanks for the introduction, Jason. Sorry. So as you said, my name's Wade Simmons, and I am a quality person at heart. I was raised in quality, learning Six Sigma, design for operational excellence type principles with IBM, and have continued to follow that in all my endeavors through my career. Today, we're here to specifically talk about data quality and as it pertains to marketing. So we're in a world today of big data. Big data is a term that's thrown around a lot and not well understood. And what is even probably less understood is quality of big data. So some of the reasons why we see data quality is such an important thing is the proliferation of marketing channels makes it very difficult for marketers to decide how am I going to spend my money, right? If I can't understand the landscape of the market, it's difficult for me to understand where to best allocate my resources. Data quality is what gives you that landscape of the market. Poor data quality, obviously, it provides a an incorrect picture, and it leads you to make decisions on budgeting, segmentation, campaign creation based on an incorrect picture, based on inaccurate information. So analytics is used to support activities. Once we have, the good quality data, we can use our analytics to help us understand how our actions are driving results. And that's really what this is about, right? It's about getting a clear picture of the marketplace and getting a clear picture of your audience so that when you make a spending decision, you're doing so with confidence that it will hit the right portion of the market and will have the effect you are looking for. Here's some of the things that we're hearing from out in the industry and from different various analysts. I'll let you take a look at these. It really speaks to the fact, the first one, 56% ad impressions never seen. If we had good data and we understood the market and the audience very clearly, we would be able to put the ad impressions in front of the right people and at the right times and make sure that they're seen. So, 37 billion in digital marketing is just thrown away because we don't have a good picture of how our messaging is getting to our target audience and is being used. That results in 15 million losses due to poor quality, and improving data quality is a top priority. It says 60% of the companies. However, I believe if companies were aware of the true impact of the data quality in their models, it would probably be closer to 100. So what we're doing here at Marketing Evolution is we're building end-to-end data quality. So some of the things that we're looking at is file ingestion. So are we getting the files on time? So for example, if we're expecting to get daily files from a source, are we checking every day that they're coming in, and are they coming in at the right time and the right cadence? Additionally, when they do come in, we open up the file and we take a look at it systematically, and we ask, does the file contain what we expect the file to contain? So if you're telling us a file it should contain impressions, we're going to open that file and we're going to make sure impressions are in there. Data alignment is the next step, and basically what this is about is, does the data align? Does it make sense? When I look at the data and I look at it in an analytics form, does it match with what I understand to be reality? And also, can we take that data systematically and verify it with one of the sources of truth that we can get? So we have many different sources of data, and the reason we have all these different sources is so that we can correlate and collate these sources to understand if a given source is correct, or more accurately, the correctness of that file. So comparing the different data sources, having many data sources, and doing that analysis will give you a good feeling that the data we're showing reflects the reality very well. And then finally, model representativeness. So the purpose of all this data is to put it into a model to understand, how different spends in different locations at different day parts is affecting your results, and those results being, return on investment. So do we have enough sampling to make those types of modeling decisions? Is the frequency and reach within an expected range? And test and control measurements can be integrated into the model. Finally, is the model robust enough? And this kind of goes back to, do we have a big enough sample size? So we need to have enough data to say our model is robust and the results make sense. And that's really what this is about. Do we have enough good data, good quality data, to be able to produce a model which accurately informs me of the marketplace and the effects of my different spend activities. What's available today? So file ingestion, we talked a little bit about data alignment and model representativeness. The key thing I want to mention here, we have the first two available today. We're working on the third one. We don't have a systematic check on the third one, but we are actively reviewing the models. We have data scientists that are spending a lot of time looking at the models and making sure that it reflects reality and it reflects the correct viewpoint of the market. And then finally, I'll mention one thing here. Although we say the first two are done, to me, there is never a done when it comes to quality. So quality is a continuous improvement and it is an iterative process. So as we put in place quality gates, when we find things that slip through the quality gate because we didn't know to check it, we use that, we incorporate that back into the quality gate to update the quality gate. So this is what we're doing iteratively to make sure that every new situation that comes in, we identify it and we check for it in the future to make our process even better. This relates back to concepts such as design for operational excellence and Six Sigma, both of which I'm actually certified in. And really, it's about making sure that your quality grows with your data and with your business. Real quick here, I just want to show a screenshot of what we have in our dashboard. And this is really about the ingestion quality. This is about the first point we talked about above. Are we getting the files and do they contain the expected headers and expected data that we're looking for? So this is updated daily in the Marketing Evolution dashboard. You can see here on the left side is your data source ID, which probably means nothing to you guys. It's very important to us though. Status, this is what's important. You can see here, these are all green check marks. That means everything is good. That means all the files that we should be receiving, we are receiving. We're receiving them on time. And when we open them up and look at them, it contains the data we're looking for. So in the case of a file not showing up, so for example, this first one shows up weekly and the offset is set to Tuesday. So every Tuesday, we go into the directory where this AdWords file should be, and we make sure it's there. We check the date on it, and then we open it up to check the data in it. If that file is not there on that day or does not contain the correct data, what you'll see is in this status box, you'll see a red triangle with an exclamation point. And if you click on that red triangle with an exclamation point, it will give you details of what the error is. Additionally, on top of this dashboard that we're showing you, we also take other actions when we have problems. Those include opening a trouble ticket internally to our engineers, as well as escalation to the data owners over time. So if 766 is in error status today, that means our CS team has 1 day to fix that and get it corrected. On the second day, if it still has not been fixed because maybe they're waiting for something, then an email notification will go out to the customer telling them, hey, we have a problem with this data source. It'll give some recommended actions to be taken for that problem and basically ask the customer to connect back with their customer success representative to make sure that they work together to resolve the error. Some of the benefits of data quality, and these are just, this is a discrete list, but the benefits are on a spectrum. Save time, peace of mind. One of the big things here is course correct faster. So by getting your data on a regular cadence, especially daily, we can give you up-to-date information on nearly a daily basis. That means up-to-date models, up-to-date data. So mid-campaign, you can see something's working or something's not working. You can readjust your allocation, your buys in order to push the characteristics that you prefer or that you see having a bigger effect. Another piece is transparency. So a lot of people don't understand their data. They don't know what it looks like. They wouldn't know how to go in and check for quality. So one of the things that we're doing is trying to provide that transparency through alerting and through these other methods to show you, hey, these are the things we're looking at. These are the things we're checking in your data to make sure that it's in good quality. And we're going to let you know what those are, and we're going to communicate that stuff to you, uh, so that you can understand if your results are skewed. You can understand before you get your results even why they might be skewed. And that's very important because we at Marketing Evolution take the data, we make sure it's in good shape, we process it, and we provide you with a picture. And if that picture is wrong, then we need to fix the inputs that made that picture less than correct, right? Reduce waste, make confident decisions. So in today's marketplace, in today's business, making confident decisions is not easy because the data is so large and disparate. So one of the goals of all this is to give you an abstraction of that data so that you can understand from that big data some key points and be able to make decisions based on those key points and be comfortable in those decisions because you know that data is good. You know that data has arrived on time. You know that data contains everything it needs to contain. You know that we've done our homework, that we've checked that data against other data. And basically you have that peace of mind previously mentioned so that when you do go to make a decision, there's no doubt in your mind as to the correct decision to make. And why our approach is unique. So just a few things here. According to our research and what we've done out in talking to various analysts and whatnot, our approach is very unique as to the highest standards. It's the top in market. It's an executive priority, and the big things here are there's end-to-end quality. It's not that we're just looking at the data when it comes in. We're looking at the data when it comes in. We're looking at the data after we join it all together. We're looking at the data when we create models. We're looking at the data at the output of the models. We're looking at the data at every single step in our process. And some of those checks are automated, which is great because that, computers don't make mistakes. And some of those checks are manually because we want someone looking at your data saying, does this make sense to me? Right? That's very important. And that's something that not a lot of people do. Lastly, PMs with a QE experience. I guess I'm the perfect example here. Like I mentioned earlier, I do have several quality certifications. I also have a graduate degree in computational physics, which is very heavily focused on data quality and computational quality that comes out of it. The other PMs we have that I work with also are very quality driven and data driven. And that's one of the requirements we look at when we're bringing in a product person is does that person have a quality background? Is that person going to be able to implement additional quality checks, bring value to the quality of our company, right? And that's very, very important for us. Without that data quality, the product that is given to you is going to be suboptimal. And we at Marketing Evolution do not do suboptimal.
All right. Thanks, Wade. We really appreciate you taking the time to share your expertise and insights into the importance of data quality and what we're doing here at Marketing Evolution. Now we'd like to open it up to questions from the audience. Let's see. There's a few questions coming in. Wade, the first question is, how exactly do you define data quality?
That's a good question. It's very global. I guess the best way I can define data quality is, does the data, when it's put together and put in a form that I can understand, match what I see in reality? So if the data is telling me, for example, that my best place to spend my next dollar is in TV, if I go out and look at the Nielsen reports and I go out and look at TV data, does that make sense with what I'm seeing for the TV data? Is the TV data showing a higher return at that point than some of the other channels we have. So really the nebular view is to look at quality of data as it reflects onto reality, or vice versa, how reality is reflected within the data. So, companies know what their sales numbers are. It's very clear and very well understood. So when we put our models together and we produce information regarding their sales, does that information match with what they're seeing in their sales data? These are things that we are looking at, as well as bringing back to the customer for the customer to look at. Now, if you look at a more micro level in terms of data quality, you need to understand, are all the fields in the data showing up? Are they all of the right data types? Are those data fields accurate? These are things that we look at the micro level. Do these data sources, can we open them? Can we pull the data out of them? And is that data we pull out of them in a proper coding and data type such that we can be using it to generate these models? So, there's the global view and there's the micro view, and they're both very important. They're both necessary. It's just easier to understand the global view, because from the micro view, incorrect data types might be easy to fix or might not impact the end model. But chances are somewhere along the line, that data is going to get dropped because it's got the wrong data types. So we look at these types of things, even though they may not seem pertinent, we look at them because we know at some point down the line, through the processing and through the modeling, it could cause problems. That's really how we define quality. We define it from both a macro and a micro level. And from a micro level, it's very statistical. And from a macro level, it's very, very human intensive to be able to compare reality with data.
Okay, great. Thanks, Wade. Looks like we've got a few more questions. The second question is, you briefly mentioned the idea of continuous improvement to quality. Can you expand a bit on that?
Yeah, that's a great question, because I think there's too many people today that think they put a quality gate in place and all the data passing through that is now quality data, and they can, pat themselves on the back and they're done. Whereas, the way that I was brought up in my career and the way that I learned quality is that it is an iterative process and it is never done. So we need to include quality during the design process. So even before you have data, you need to have quality in the design. When I speak of quality in the design, I mean things such as, when there is a problem, is it easy to go find that problem and debug, right? How difficult is it to walk through the actual process to understand how the different data types and different data pieces move through that process and are affected by that process? And I think one of the more important and more difficult measures that we look at is, how does the input match with the output? So we pull in quite a few data sources, and then we look at, okay, for these data sources, what is the output for these data sources, and is that match in between the input and the output? And anytime, back to continuous improvement, anytime we see any issues like this that happen, that shows me there's something that we need to go improve in the quality process. So I can confidently say that, we have a quality check for all the problems we know. And that's really the idea at the end of the day. That's as good as quality can get. If you can have a quality check for every single issue you're aware of, that's 100% coverage, and that is excellent quality. And so the goal is always to be doing that, always to be looking at, what slipped through the cracks and how we can make sure that it doesn't happen again. In a more formal setting, we use things like an 8D report, 8 discipline report. We use investigative methods such as, identifying, problem symptom, root cause, corrective action, preventative action to make sure that we're covering every different aspect of the issue that was found. And we're making sure that not only do we have a check in it to make sure it doesn't happen again, but we have a preventative action in place to address all that is already out there so that no one else hits this issue. So that's really the life cycle of quality is continuing to look for issues and then going back earlier in the process and putting in place checks and verifications such that those issues do not continue to occur in the latter stages of the process. And again,
Okay, excellent.
Oh, thank you.
So I was going to say we have one more question, which I think is a great way to end the session. Can you review some of the specifics that you and Marketing Evolution look at when evaluating data quality?
Yeah, so some of the specifics, I have mentioned a few of those, the kind of incoming quality gate where we look at, the timeliness, the completeness, and the data types and the format of the data. We go from there into looking at when we join the data, what are the match rates in the data? And we pull in match rates from, match information from various partners. So we want to make sure that when we're talking about person level attribution, we want to make sure the events that we're getting in our data are matching up to the person correctly so that we can perform that person level attribution. Those are match rates. When I say match rates, that's what I mean, to make sure that the data is matched to the person level. If the match rate is too low, that will indicate that the models will be insufficient. So the match rate is very important. Now, my understanding is, we have very little control over the match rates because those are coming from partners. However, we are actively going out to those partners and working with them and helping them to improve their matching capabilities so that our match rates are better. So the reason I mention this is I think, most people in the quality community, most of the people that are doing this type of work, they get their data from their partner, they pull it into their process, and then they say, hey, we're good, we have our data, we have our matches, we can move forward. Whereas at Marketing Evolution, we say, we pull in that data, we look at that matching, and we say, hey, that's not good enough for us. And this goes back to us having, the standard of quality, this number one standard of quality across the industry is not only do we not accept our partners providing data which doesn't fulfill our needs, but we will actively go out and help those partners to improve their quality. A few of the other things that we look at is we look at, some metrics such as frequency and reach to just say, do these numbers make sense? If we have a person that has, a frequency of 100 times of seeing a certain ad in a week, that does not make sense, right? So we identify those, and then we go back and we look at what is the problem. And again, this goes back to the iterative quality process of, what is the nature of the problem? What is the root cause of the problem? What is the corrective and preventive actions of the problem? So we look at those things, and then we roll these data through our modeling process, through our machine learning process, and at the output, we look at, does the output make sense? If we adjust spend from one channel to another, do we see an increased frequency in that channel? Do we see an increased ROI from that channel? And if we do, what are those numbers and do they make sense? So it's looking at various aspects of the data throughout the process. Another thing that we look at very intently is making sure there's no duplication within our data. So again, going back to kind of the matching that we do with our partners. Sometimes we see that, a certain ad may be matched to one person multiple times. That's not okay. That's a duplication, and we need to remove that and instead have the frequency corrected to reflect that. So there's a lot of things we look at in that nature. And then also we chart out all of your data, and we go through the charts and we look at in detail to look for things like missing data, low frequencies, high frequencies, and looking at the function of the data. If you understand the derivative or the slope, you can understand the rate of change. If the rate of change is too high, that presents an anomaly in the data. in which case we need to go understand what that anomaly is. So these are the type of things that we're doing somewhat systematically, and somewhat data scientist people involved and customer success people involved looking at these types of things to understand that the data is correct and that the data quality is sufficient and that there are no systematic anomalies detected. And that's really what it's about.
All right, perfect. Well, it looks like we are just about out of time. I'd like to thank Wade Simmons for being our guest speaker today, and thanks to all of our customers who joined. Like I mentioned earlier, we'll be following up with the recording as well as some additional information on data quality. Have a great day, everyone. Thank you.